Good evening and welcome to Newswatch. Tonight, on this 22nd day of October 2020, my name is Teresia Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. We begin in Kisumu County, where a day after receiving the BBI reports, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his handshake partner Raila Odinga toured Kisumu County to drum up support for the document. The two said the document is the best for the country, which has always witnessed chaos and after every electioneering period. And as Alice Diana reports, during the tour in the lakeside city, President Kenyatta inspected a number of projects that included ongoing construction of the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium at Mamboleo, Uhuru Business Park, Kisumu Port, and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Sport Complex.
President Uhuru Kenyatta on Thursday received a heroic reception in Kisumu County, the political backyard of his handshake partner and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Kisumu city residents turned out in large numbers to welcome the president, who was accompanied by Odinga in a tour that saw the two launch the Kisumu Port, Uhuru Business Park, and lay the foundation stone for the commencement of construction of the Jomo Kenyatta Stadium. During his long day tour, the head of state drummed up support for the Building Bridges Initiative BBI report, which was handed to him and Raila on Wednesday at the Kisii State Lodge, and asked residents to read the report thoroughly and support it in order to promote unity and togetherness.
Tuweke ambition zetu chini kidogo, na sio kusema ya kwamba tunapinga mtu yeyote. Tunasema tunataka Wakenya wote wakuje pamoja, tufanye yale ambayo italetea kila Mkenya haki pahali popote alipo.
The president called on all leaders to be at the forefront in holding discussions to forge unity in the country and resolve any conflicts, assuring critics and naysayers alike that any submissions on the BBI document that were left out will be incorporated even through bills in parliament. Uhuru said through the BBI document that is set to be launched on Monday next week, he and opposition leader Raila Odinga were looking at the broader issues on the national scale that were ailing the nation.
Na wauliza wenzangu, wengine walikuwa wanapinga hata hawajaona. Tabu iko wapi tukisema tunataka kuongeza mapato ya county na tuweze kupatia MCA wetu kule chini wawe na World Development Fund yao, ndio kijana akiwa na shida mbele hata atafute mjumbe ako na World MCA wake hapo kila siku, amsaidie na school fees, amsaidie na mambo yale mengine ambaye inahusu mwananchi kule kwa ground. Wenzangu, tukisema ya kwamba tunataka kijana ambaye amesoma na ameenda na amechukua mkopo ndio aweze kusoma, tukisema ya kwamba huyo kijana asiambiwe aanze kulipa huo mkopo mpaka apate kazi, kuna makosa? Kuna makosa? Tukisema kijana ambaye sasa ameanza biashara yake ndogo asilipe kodi miaka 7 mpaka biashara yake ikomaa, kuna shida hapo? Kuna shida?
His sentiments were echoed by the former Prime Minister, who said the country is headed for a referendum. Raila said BBI recommendations will create wealth for Kenyans and ensure that the country does not witness chaos during elections, as the results will be incontestable and a win-win affair.
Tumeleta BBI ili watu wetu waweze kupata njia ya kutengeneza mali, watajirike, vijana wapewe fursa ya kutengeneza mali. Sawa sawa? Sawa sawa? Sisi tumesema tunataka vile vile kuona kama hakuna mapigano. Kama kuna uchaguzi, hakuna mapigano. Hakuna tear gas.
Leaders who accompanied Uhuru were Cabinet Secretaries Fred Matiang'i of Interior, Amina Mohamed of Sports, Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka, and Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Alice Diana.
And members of parliament allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta and the handshake have pledged their support regarding the just released Building Bridges Initiative report. The leaders, led by National Assembly Majority Leader Amos Kimunya, have urged Kenyans to read the report thoroughly and avoid being swayed by politicians who are against the report. The leaders unanimously spoke of the BBI as a tool that will propel the nation away from ethnicity battles, as Grace Wangoi reports.
The much-awaited Building Bridges Initiative report has rattled a few feathers in the political sphere and elicited mixed reactions, even from members of the public. Many political leaders have come out to voice their opinions regarding the report that will be launched on October 26th.
This document does not belong, first and foremost, to me and Ryan. It doesn't. It belongs to you.
Addressing the press from Parliament Building, Keleweki faction of the National Assembly have raised their voice in approval of the Building Bridges Initiative report. The leaders, led by National Assembly Majority Leader Amos Kimunya, spoke strongly against Kenyans relying on politicians for interpretation of the report, as they will be swayed into making the wrong decision, putting more emphasis on the youth, who are usually the most gullible whenever it comes to making informed decisions.
We urge Kenyans to look at the report from a selfish perspective. As you read through and discuss it, wherever you are, at home, at the workplace, or in social places, ask yourself, what's in it for me? And I'm sure you'll find something in it for each and every Kenyan.
I want to urge my fellow Kenyans, just as my fellow MPs have said, that let us read the report, page after page, and we establish that this is actually what we have been waiting for, because it is an inclusive process that seeks to leave no one behind. So as a person representing persons with disabilities, I support it fully. And I urge my fellow Kenyans also, PWDs and women, to support it fully, because even when we are talking about the issue of two-thirds gender rules, it has actually been solved in the BBI process. So it is a process that we fully support.
Speaking during the press briefing, Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata applauded the report for its inclusion of more allocation of funds to counties. Just recently, counties were experiencing a shutdown after the Senate failed to come to an agreement on the allocation of funds to various counties, leading to a county revenue allocation stalemate at the Senate.
The proposals contained in this report in regard to devolutions are very positive. In particular, the proposal to add more monies to the counties. That is what Senate has been fighting for. That is what we had came up with a settlement with the President when we went to see him on how to settle the stalemate that was in the Senate. Now we have seen that has been captured in this BBI report. More counties are going to get more monies. From where we sit as senators, of course, there are areas one would imagine you would want a little bit of improvement, but the bottom line is that we are happy and we endorse this report, and we shall continue supporting the entire process.
Even as the stage continues to be set for a referendum, Kimunya defended the BBI's position that there is more representation of Kenyans in Parliament and Senate, by saying it will help in addressing the issue of inclusivity in the nation, adding that it was recommended to be part of the policies by Kenyans.
The issue of inclusivity, it has sorted out the issues of divisive elections, our shared prosperity, fighting corruption, the issues of devolution, especially with added resources to the devolved the counties, and safety and security of all Kenyans, wherever they are within our republic.
Grace Wangoi, Hope TV News Watch.
The BBI report is the talk of town now after it was handed over to President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Politicians have embarked on criticizing and supporting the report in equal measure as constitutional lawyers and analysts continue analyzing it to members of the public. Our current affairs reporter Dickens Luvanda gives us a breakdown of what the report entails.
At least between now and August 2022, the word BBI will be in the lips of many Kenyans. The report, which was handed over to President Uhuru Kenyatta and his former rival Raila Odinga, is expected to be unveiled on Monday next week before campaigns on changing of the constitution officially kicks off.
This document does not belong, first and foremost, to me and Raila. It doesn't. It belongs to you.
The BBI task force has recommended a constitutional amendment that will see reintroduction of the office of the Prime Minister, and this structure of government will require a referendum to endorse the proposals.
Kenya, the new Kenya must need to be born. And this is what we want. We say we want to bequeath a better society to the future generation. It is not about making Raila Odinga president or making Uhuru Kenyatta Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister, if the report is adopted, will be appointed by the President, and his or her functions will be the lead of government business in the National Assembly, oversee the legislative agenda in the National Assembly on behalf of government, supervise the execution of the functions of ministries and government departments, chair cabinet committee meetings as assigned by the President, assign any of the functions of the office to the Deputy Prime Ministers, and perform any other duty assigned by the President.
This is about all of us. What we are looking for is a document for posterity. And like I told you yesterday, friends, I may be the fourth, but I'm not the last.
If the report is adopted after a referendum, President Kenyatta will be the first and the last occupier of the country's top job under the pure presidential system of governance adopted by Kenyans 10 years ago. The hybrid system of governance, according to the BBI task force, will enhance inclusivity in the management of the country to avoid post-election uncertainty. The Prime Minister will also be a member of Parliament and leader of the party or coalition with the majority in the National Assembly, and will be appointed by the President, subject to confirmation by the National Assembly, and can be sacked by the head of state or rejected through a successful impeachment motion. BBI proposes for the creation of 2 deputy prime minister posts, who will be deputies of the Prime Minister. The 2 will, however, be appointed by the President and picked from among members of the cabinet. Other than managing their respective ministerial dockets, the 2 deputy prime ministers will deputize the Prime Minister in execution of various functions and will only receive 1 salary, besides serving at the President's pleasure. The BBI report also proposes for the introduction of official leader of opposition, the latter being the run-up in the presidential election, and will have a government office and salary after being nominated to the National Assembly. This means that Parliament will have a new power structure in order of precedence, this being the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Prime Minister, and the leader of official opposition. Deacon Sulvanda, Hope TV News Watch.
The Council of Governors Chairman Wycliffe Oparanya has urged Kenyans to support the Building Bridges initiative, saying the report, which was officially handed over to President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, targets to increase county allocation from 15% to 35%, which is a win for devolution.
There is a recommendation that allocation to counties increases from 15 to 35, which is a plus for counties. But you know, in this country, it is now politics that comes in. This is now a benefit that is coming to counties. But by just having 25% coming to counties, and if it's a reality, this will make a big difference. Even what you are talking about your salaries, because sustainability of these increases must also be there.
We now move to court, where Malindi MP Aisha Jumwa and her bodyguard Geoffrey Otieno have been detained until tomorrow, which is Friday, when they will know if they will be released on cash bail. This is after they denied murder charges on Thursday before Mombasa Judge Njoki Mwangi. The two are accused of murdering 48-year-old Gumbao Jola on October 15, 2019 in Ganda village in Kilifi County during a by-election last year. The defense counsels led by Danstan Omari, Jared Magolo and Cliff Ombeta had asked the court to release Jumwa and her bodyguard on reasonable bond terms on claims that the state has been frustrating the MP and her aide through calculated moves which aim at denying them bond. Okay. That story takes us to our first commercial break here on Hope TV Newswatch. We will be right back with more news. Don't go too far.
Are you looking to settle your family in an affordable, clean and serene environment? Look no further than Garden of Joy in Machakos by Optiven. The project strategically sits between the Mutua and Koma Hills, providing you with beautiful landscapes, fresh air and a much-needed break from the hustle and bustle of the city. The Garden of Joy also comes with a jogging track, a meditation park and a children's play area, making it the perfect location to set up your countryside home. Get your value-added plot at only 1.295 million shillings. We also have flexible payment options of up to 12 months. Call us today on 0702 8310 83 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Tunakuletea burudani safi kutoka wanamuziki wa nyimbo za sifa na ibada, mahojiano ya moja kwa moja na mafunzo ya hali ya juu.
Dhamira ya mtu ikifa anaweza fanya anything. Because kile kinanitofautisha na mbuzi ni dhamira.
There was this time niliambia Mungu, mimi samahani Mungu, lakini naona umenifanya mimi kuwa daraja. Sitaki.
Ni mahali pa uchipuzi na ulezi wa vipaji.
Mwimbaji anaweza itisha akitaka, lakini unajua hiyo ni sauti
hajanunua.
Hujanunua, hiyo ni umebarikiwa nayo. So hiyo unaweza mupeane aidha bure ama. Lakini hii pande nyingine sisi tumeinvest, ni investment ona.
Tunabeba mwili lakini mimi sikujua hii ni maagano nafanya.
Ungana naye Mwalimu Shaban Brima kila Ijumaa saa 2 jioni na marudio kila Jumamosi saa 10 jioni.
Machozi ya furaha nishangaze baba, kwa ushuhuda wangu watambua wewe ni Mungu.
Dunia ni mali ya Bwana na vyote vijazavyo.
Nguruwe ni mali ya Bwana au?
Ni mali ya Bwana.
Bata ni mali ya Bwana?
Ni mali.
Wewe kula basi. Acha mambo mengi.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Muislamu yoyote ambaye anamkataa Yesu, kwanza sisi tunamjua ni kafiri.
Bila huyu Yesu, mtu aendi kwa Baba.
Ungana na walimu wa neno wanapochambua masuala tata katika Biblia, wakiyalinganisha na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
Je, kuna ushahidi wowote Muhammad aliwahi na Qur'ani? Na hii Qur'ani muliitoa wapi? Halo?
Piga simu moja kwa moja na pia uchangie kupitia SMS na Facebook.
Itawezekana kitabu cha Biblia ambaye mwanakiamini kuwa ni kitabu cha Mwenyezi Mungu ishindwe kumtabiri mtu ambaye ana wafuasi zaidi ya bilioni 100 duniani?
Je, Muhammad amekufa ama yuko hai?
Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 2 hadi saa 4 ya usiku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
Welcome back. Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu has dismissed Deputy President William Ruto's wheelbarrow and hustler campaigns, saying the BBI is the only vehicle that will salvage Kenyans. Ngilu has kicked off BBI campaigns across Kitui County as she asked residents to fully support the document, saying devolved governments will receive 35% of the national cake from the current 15% to spur manufacturing, industrial revolution, value addition, and create jobs for the youth, besides addressing gender representation issues. Patroba Ojuang tells us more from Kitui.
Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu has kicked off Building Bridges Initiative BBI campaigns ahead of the unveiling of the draft in Bomas of Kenya on Monday, terming the document a cure for divisive and tribal-based politics. Governor Ngilu says that the draft espoused all the aspirations of Kenyans to form an all-inclusive government, adding that post-poll skirmishes will be a thing of the past.
Hapa Katulani niseme hatuwezi tukaenda nje ya BBI. Sasa Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga wamesema umaskini out of the window. Vile sasa wametufanyia Kenya, twende mbele sasa. Na si hatutaki mtu akuje atuambie nitakuwa nikiwaletea. Tunataka iwe kwa katiba ndani.
Slamming the wheelbarrow mentality spearheaded by the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto, the governor says that the devolved governments will receive 35% of the national cake from the current 15% to spur manufacturing, industrial revolution, value addition, and create jobs for the youth.
Unatuonyesha huko na pesa nyingi ya kutununulia wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow nitabeba nini? Nikupatia wheelbarrow na una shamba ya kutoa chakula upeleke kwa granary. Hiyo wheelbarrow ya kubeba nini? Yaani unaona watu wa Kenya ni watu wapumbavu sana.
Governor Ngilu said reading the document has shed light on critical issues that have affected Kenyans perennially and called on wananchi to get hold of the document, read and make informed choices before a referendum question is out. Patroba Ojuang, Hope TV Newswatch.
And Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua says the BBI process should be for the people and not confined to a selected group of individuals hell-bent on using it for 2022 political formations. The Maendeleo Chapchap party leader and 2022 presidential candidate has demanded that all political parties with elected leaders, religious leaders, civil society, academia, elected and opinion leaders, and wananchi from all walks of life be fully and meaningfully involved in the BBI discussion. Mutua has warned that he will not support the process if it fails to include every Kenyan and fails to address proposals to revamp the economy and how to empower ordinary Kenyans and improve their quality of life.
Hii mambo ya class system, yani haya na haya na hawa ndio wataitisha hawa, hiyo BBI wakataka kuchunga itaanguka. Lazima kama wanataka BBI ipite, iache kuwa mambo ya sirisiri. Hiyo BBI ni ya Wakenya. Mimi kawaida sikubaliani na William Ruto, kwa sababu William Ruto nitamshinda. Mimi wasikubaliana na William Ruto sana, lakini nakubaliana na yeye kusema ya kwamba tunataka watu wahusishwe. Vyama vihusishwe. Viongozi wahusishwe. Kama tunachukuliwa tuko on the side, tutafuata tu hivi. Watu wa Mutua watasema no. Machakos watasema no. Sisi wote tutasema no. Lazima sisi viongozi pia sisi wote tuhusishwe.
Student leaders in the country under the Kenya University Student Association, KUSU, has backed the recommendations in the Building Bridges initiative after the report was handed over to President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. KUSU, which has a membership of 5.6 million members, has urged Kenyans to go through the report and understand it, and further condemned leaders who are disseminating false information about the report. Mark Kimondo tells us more.
Being among the beneficiaries of the recommendations by Building Bridges Initiative report received by President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga on Wednesday, 21st October 2020, university students have voted to support the document. The Kenya University Student Association KUSO, an umbrella body of all universities and TVET institutions in the country, say they believe the report will take Kenya's level of education to a higher level. Speaking during a press briefing on Thursday, KUSO chairman Anthony Manyara urged Kenyans to keenly scrutinize the BBI report and analyze it properly before making judgments.
The BBI report is out. We as young people, of course, we are so much involved in it. We have a stake. And we have categorically urged Kenyans to be patient. They need to read first before they start critiquing the documents.
Sisi kama wakilishi wanafunzi tuliweza kugundua kwamba ripoti hii imezungumzia mapendekezo ambayo hapo awali tulikuwa tumependekeza kwenye jopo kazi lilokuwepo kwenye kuandika hii ripoti.
In the report, youths will be given a 7-year tax holiday once they establish a startup in business, given that higher education has always appeared to be expensive to many students in the country. A 4-year grace period for repayment of HELB loan will be given from the day of graduation, according to the report. With this, KUSO believes that BBI has afforded students and Kenyan's youth a rare opportunity to be part of a positive change process.
Tunashukuru sana kwamba ripoti hii imeweza kunakili kwamba vijana, jambo la kwanza, ambao wamehitimu toka vioni wataweza kupata muda wa neema, kama mtaniruhusu kutumia hilo neno, muda wa neema wa miaka 4 kuweza kutafuta kazi, na vile vile ikaangazia kwamba kwa wale ambao watakuwa wamepata kazi hawataweza kufurushwa ama kuharakishwa kulipa hela hizi.
BBI has recognized the youth have been frustrated, especially in job markets. Youth struggle to meet educational goals they were told would allow them to get employment. But when they apply for jobs, there are demands that they should have experience.
However, Manyara urged leaders across the political divide to stop politicizing the report.
We make special appeal to the political class to resist the urge to dilute the contents of the report to align with their misleading ASLA campaign that rejects long-term solutions and advocates for enslavement through tokenism and seasonal philanthropy.
KUSO earlier on criticized the BBI task force for not taking into account the problems afflicting institutions of higher learning. However, after presenting its recommendations to the BBI task force twice, student grievances have been captured on the report.
This provides more hope for a more balanced legislature and more spaces for women in the governance space. So this is a step towards the right direction.
Mark Kimundo for Hope TV, Nairobi.
Wilbaro, mkokoteni, mkokoteni.
Moving on to COVID statistics, today the country has recorded the highest number of COVID-19 infections since the numbers started rising, leaving stakeholders with questions as to whether the second phase of the virus is already here with us. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases has risen to 47,212 after 1,068 tested positive between Wednesday and Thursday. The cases were tested from a sample of 7,556, which now pushes the cumulative total of sample tested in the country to 640,225. From the cases, 1,044 are Kenyans, while 24 are foreigners. 666 are male, while 402 are female, with the youngest patients being a 6-month-old baby, while the oldest is 96 years. 27 patients are currently receiving care in the intensive care unit, while 45 are on supplementary oxygen. 27 are on the ventilator support, while 12 are in the high dependency unit. A total of 1,121 patients are admitted in various hospitals, while 3,112 are on their home-based isolation and care. And the country has so far been able to successfully contain the COVID-19 pandemic thanks to all government approach that was employed even before the first case was reported in the country. This is according to the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru, who says there was a whole government approach with leadership led by President Uhuru Kenyatta and the formation of the COVID-19 National Task Force in January 2020. Musheru speaking at a Nairobi hotel on Thursday during a stakeholders meeting to evaluate Kenya's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Following this attention, our country has shifted from a deep shortfall in isolation space and a lack of capacity to attend to critically ill to now having over 7,000 isolation beds and close to 400 ICU beds across our 47 counties. We have scaled up our diagnostic capacity, which was defined by 2 testing laboratories prior to COVID-19, to now 39 laboratories spread across 12 counties. And we have hired and trained a new cohort of healthcare workers to complement our existing capacity. When we reflect on our journey with COVID-19, for one day we will be able to record the positive impact of these measures that have not only our ongoing efforts to achieve universal health coverage, but also on the tangible difference that we've had on our overall health status. Our enhanced capacity will far outlive COVID-19, coupled with the current efforts to strengthen the Ministry of Health's supply chain processes that will ensure the transparent, efficient, and cost-effective delivery of healthcare services. This country will be well positioned to offer not only Kenyan citizens the best quality of care, but also others in the region. Our fight against this pandemic, and indeed all challenges facing our society, require synergy and partnerships, and these are built through dialogue such as what I hope will happen here today. It's always easy to blame one another, but we must never forget that Kenya is our country, and it's only us, all of us together, who will make all the difference for the good of all of us.
Have we got our photos? Pediatric.
And with that, let's take another short break. We will be right back with news from the international scene and many more.
Welcome to Activate.
It's a good morning. Good morning.
Kickstart your day with George and Kerry on the Sweet Hour of Prayer.
And welcome to Activate, this being the station where you listen and live Hope FM.
From Nairobi to the world.
Great music just for you.
Activate.
The only show that keeps you activated.
Yes, indeed.
Activate. Every weekday morning from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Only on Hope FM, where you listen and live.
De Beneficiis Messiah. That's the nickname of Psalm 117 when the author says, "Praise the Lord and laud him." Why should we praise the Lord? The Jewish doctors tell us that that chapter was written to be a benefit of the Christos and the coming Mashiach. And indeed, Paul referred to Jesus in 1 Timothy 6:2 as the benefit. John 4:10 refers to Jesus as the gift of God. Haggai refers to Jesus, the coming Messiah, as the desire of all nations. And Luke 2 refers to Jesus as being great tidings of joy to all people. So too, I want to encourage you that the Christ dimension can live through you so that you no longer live, but now you have the gift, the benefit, the desire of all nations, and the glad tidings of great joy manifested through you when you simply put your faith and trust in the Father who sent his Son to image him to the world. By faith, the Christ dimension will be manifested through you too.
Our Christian life is not just about God always stepping in when you are in trouble.
But sometimes you need to go through the valley of the shadow of death, and God will say, angels, stand away. He must go through that. She must go through that. Because out of this would come something greater and more beautiful.
A warm welcome to you right back. We have a crisis in Lagos State, Nigeria, escalated on Thursday after a prison building was set on fire as inmates attempted to stage a jailbreak in the ongoing End SARS protests. Ikoyi Prison in Lagos came under attack by prisoners with facilities set ablaze, forcing the police and military to come in to support prison staff. The Africa Union envoy for infrastructure, Raila Odinga, has called on the African Union and Nigerian authorities to investigate the violence and murders that have gone on in the country and hold the perpetrators to account. Raila says Africa and its institutions must stand up for and condemn the brutalization of its citizens at home with the same energy and vigor it responds to the violations of its citizens abroad. In a statement, the opposition leader noted the police brutality and abuses that have gone on in Nigeria for the last couple of days, leading to multiple deaths and injuries of unarmed civilians, are extremely worrying and unacceptable, adding that there can be no excuse for that amount of brutality on an unarmed civilians protesting misconduct on the part of the police. And thousands of union members, teachers, students, and indigenous people in Colombia are participating in a national strike to protest the social and economic policies of President Iván Duque. The killing of human rights activists and police violence, the protests are the latest in a sporadic series of protests which began in 2019, including demonstrations against police brutality that led to 13 deaths. The government of Colombia has, however, warned protestants of increased risk of coronavirus infections. Colombia, which was under lockdown for more than 5 months, could top 1 million confirmed COVID-19 infections this weekend. Commercial break. On to business news. The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce Industry, in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation, has disbursed $3 million to micro, small and medium enterprises affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The loans are part of the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and COVID-19 Recovery and Resilience Program targeting MSMEs impacted by the pandemic. The funds informed of the revolving interest-free loans of between 20,000 and 30,000 Kenya shillings will be available to youth and women of between 18 to 35 years owned MSMEs to provide them with financial assistance so that they can continue to operate during and even after the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking during the initial disbursement of funds to the first beneficiaries of the program, Chief Executive Officer, Kenya National Federation of Juakali Associations, encouraged MSMEs across the countries to utilize the opportunity to pivot back to a position of growth.
West Pokot Nimbali Sana. She traveled overnight to come here today.
Specific for the informal economic sector. We know, all of us here, that accessing any credit is not easy. And every institution has their own benchmarks to see how you qualify for their products. Unfortunately, most of these institutions require something against their finances. For example, we talk about collateral, we talk about bookkeeping, we talk about so many formal things, and that is where we depart.
We are continuously reaching out to several development partners because we know what it means to be an SMEs in this country. We know what it means to be an informal sector in this country. And when you saw the president addressing Boda Boda yesterday in Kisii, leave alone the BBI aside. he had a point to pass to Kenyans. For the youth in this house, take every challenge around you as an opportunity. That is how you will be able to benefit from this funding.
Also are drawing from business, from sectors such as hawkers, jua kali, the retailers, fashion industry, restaurants. So it spans through all our small businesses, micro and small businesses. The facility is a revolving fund, which means you borrow, you pay within 2 months, so the repayment window is within 2 months. You repay within the 2-month window, and you can reborrow again, as long as you repay on time.
We have more than 18 million MSMEs in this country, and I want to just make one case for why MSMEs are very important in this country. If you think about a boda boda, who are members of Mr. Keyo here, who has to pay 30 shillings every single day to do their business, and you talk of 30 times 30 days, that's 900 shillings. 900 shillings, you multiply by 12, and then you multiply by 15 or 18 million people in a year. Can you underestimate how much contribution is coming from that sector?
Makofi kwake. That is Elizabeth Wamboi, all the way.
Qatar Airways has expanded its interline agreement with Kenya Airways. Following the agreement, Qatar Airways will cover 43 destinations across the continent via Nairobi, with the agreement providing 2 domestic connections to Mombasa and Kisumu. Already, the airline links international destinations across the continent, including Madagascar, Bamako, Mali, and Monrovia, and Liberia. Henrik Dupreez, Qatar Airways Vice President Africa, said the corporation will provide passengers with unrivaled service and seamless connections. We shift gears into the world of sports, where President Uhuru Kenyatta has today laid the foundation for the construction of a state-of-the-art sports complex at the Kisumu Showgrounds. Uhuru, who was accompanied by ODM leader Raila Odinga, said the complex will be launched next year in April. That and more in our sports update with Joseph Maingi.
While underscoring the need to grow Kenyan talent, President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that the complex will help train aspiring footballers and prepare them for the lucrative international football market. The president also tasked Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i to see to it that the roads to the stadium are tarmacked and street lights fixed. During the April 2020 grand opening, President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that Gor Mahia will go head-to-head with AFC Leopards in a duel of its kind in the region. To some Champions League update, and 13-time European Cup winners Real Madrid last night suffered a humiliating 3-2 defeat as a shambolic first-half performance was clinically punished by second-string Shakhtar Donetsk side. The Ukrainian champions arrived in Madrid without 13 first-team players after 19 players tested positive for the COVID-19 in the club. Elsewhere, Liverpool beat Ajax Amsterdam 1-0 away with a fortunate own goal in the Champions League group stage opener after Ajax fullback Niklas Tagliafico turned the ball into his own net in the 35th minute to ensure a winning start in Group D for the English champions. In Germany, winger Kingsley Coleman scored twice and set up another goal as holders Bayern Munich crushed Atletico Madrid 4-0 in the Champions League Group A opener to stretch their winning run in the competition to 13 games. In England, Manchester City came from behind to make a winning start in the Champions League in Group C after winning 3-1 over Porto at the Etihad Stadium. In Italy, Inter Milan forward Romelu Lukaku scored twice, including a 90th minute equalizer, as the Serie A side stretched a 2-2 draw at home against Borussia Mönchengladbach. That's your sport. I'm Joseph Maingi.
And that wraps up Newswatch for tonight. Many thanks to our production team here at Hope TV and you for keeping us company. Have a good night and may God bless you. I have been your host, presenter, Teresia Njenga, and our sign language interpreter, is Boniface Mureithi. God bless you.